about my near-death experience here in Dominican Republic. I'm smiling now because I'm trying to make light of the situation, but it actually was really scary what ended up happening. So before I start this video, if you have not subscribed to my channel, you can go ahead and do that right now, and also leave a thumbs up on this video and we can get started. So guys, yes, I did have like this crazy experience. Like, these things do really happen to me, and this is just my life. So, you know, literally stuff happens and I make videos and, you know, I put them out here. So listos. Okay, so everything started when me and my friends, we decided to go to Mixer. Mixer is a bar here in Santo Domingo. It's like a bar / club, but it has a swimming pool and jacuzzi. It's really, really nice. If you are in Santo Domingo, I definitely, or if you're gonna travel to Santo Domingo, I definitely recommend you to go to Mixer. Mixer is a really nice place, and it's not too expensive. It's like somewhere in the middle between low end and high end. But yes, Mixer, I really love that place. And so I went with my friend Jasmine. Now Jasmine, she's from the United States, and this is actually my first time hanging out with Jasmine. So I didn't really know Jasmine that well. So this is like our first time hanging out. And then we were gonna meet one of my other friends from Dominican Republic, Riley. Now he's from Dominican Republic, so we were gonna meet him there, the three of us all together at Mixer. So we arrived at Mixer, we sit down, we order drinks, we're chilling, having a good time. And I quickly tell my friends, I'm like, hey, I gotta go get some money out the ATM because I realized that I hadn't had a chance to do it yet. So they were like, all right, cool. So I ended up leaving Mixer to go get cash from the ATM. And despite it being nighttime, I was very familiar with my surroundings in those streets, so I knew exactly where to go. And I have been over in this area a million times. So I ended up going to the ATM. Now this ATM is located at a gas station. So imagine like a gas station, and then you have like an ATM sitting outside the front of the gas station. That's what the situation kind of was. So I go to the ATM, and once I try to retrieve the money, it says a message on the screen that it's not enough bills in the ATM. And I'm like, damn it. So that's something that is very common here in Dominican Republic. Sometimes the ATMs, they run out of money. That's actually kind of a frequent issue. I've been trying to get money out the ATM, but all the ATMs don't got no money. So just a little heads up, expect to see that. So my best advice, if you are trying to retrieve money, just go to a bank. That's probably gonna be your better bet, because sometimes the ATMs, they don't have enough money. That's just something that happens here, and it's normal. So right next to that ATM is another ATM. So I try that ATM, and it's the same thing. So I'm like, damn it. So then I'm like, okay, well, I'll just call an Uber and I'll go to a different ATM. So I call an Uber, but in my mind, I was thinking, man, I should have probably told them that I was leaving to go to another place. But I felt like because it wasn't too far and they already knew I was gone, what was the big deal? But now looking back at the situation, I probably should have still told them where I was going. So I ended up getting an Uber to go to the ATM. And I tell the driver, I'm like, hey, I need to go to the ATM. He's like, all right, cool. So we get there, and it's the same issue. I go to the ATM, and it says, not enough bills. And I'm like, people love text me when I'm doing videos. Okay, so, all right. So I'm gonna finish my my thought. So yeah, I get to the ATM, and it says the same thing. It says, not enough bills in the machine. So I'm like, all right. So then I tell the driver, I was like, well, do you know another ATM that's a little bit close? And he was like, well, yeah, I can take you there. It's like, but it's 12 minutes away. So I'm like, okay, well, it's 12 minutes away. I probably need to text somebody. So I end up texting Riley because I don't have Jasmine's number. Like I said, this is my first day hanging out with Jasmine. So I didn't have her number, but I did text Riley and I told him, hey, I'm going to another ATM further away. But I realized that Riley didn't respond to me. And he told me that he was having issues with his phone. So that's why I was assuming that was the problem, because on WhatsApp, if you see the 2 blue check marks, it means that someone's read your message. So I didn't see those 2 blue checks. So I'm thinking, okay, something's going on with his phone, but I'm still just gonna go to the ATM anyway. So I told him, I was like, okay, well, we can try one more ATM. So we start going in the car, and we're going. Now, like I said, this took place during the night, so that's why it was really dark, and we're just headed down the highway. So remember how I made these videos about how the driving is very crazy in Dominican Republic, and there's motorcycles everywhere? So we were on our way to the ATM, headed straight, and out of nowhere, boom, a motorcycle jumps out in front of us. So we're going straight. Imagine like this, a motorcycle tries to cut across like that, and we go boom, like directly. It was like a direct hit like that. Yo, so when the impact happened, I just remember in my head everything going extremely fast. Like, it happened so fast that I didn't even have a chance to process what actually happened. And then I remember after it happened, everything was just like slow motion. Like, everything was slow motion for like maybe 3 or 4 seconds, and I couldn't hear anything. Like, everything was toned out. I couldn't hear it. Like, I just remember just like trying to take it in, like, oh God, like what just happened? Then I look to my right, and I just see glass like just all over the floor of the car and all over the seats. And then I look to the front, and I see the actual motorcyclist. He's like all discombobulated, just like laid out in the front of the car. So the impact was so hard that he actually went through the windshield. That's how hard like the impact was. He actually went through the windshield, and the motorcycle was sitting like outside of the car, like, but the actual driver, he was actually in the car. And I remember just sitting there. We were all just sitting there for like maybe 10 seconds, just still trying to process like what happened. And then that's when I was like, okay, everybody get out the car. Let's get out the car. So I get out the car, and I go up to the driver, and I'm like, yo, are you okay? And I see blood just like running all down the side of his face. And I'm assuming that's like from the glass, from the windshield. And then the guy, he's still in the car, like, and he's not moving or anything. So I'm like, but he's still breathing. So I tell the Uber driver, like, he needs to call the ambulance. So he calls the ambulance, and the motorcyclist, he's like all like unconscious and stuff, and it's just like blood everywhere. So the ambulance finally arrives. They come up to me. They're asking me a million questions. They thought initially I was the driver, but I had to tell them like, no, like, I was the passenger. And I told them like who the Uber driver was. So they started asking him a million questions. And so the Uber driver, yeah, he's answering the questions. And while they're doing that, they get the body out the car. Thank God he was able to have his conscious back, but he did end up breaking all his ribs on the left side of his body. And he had like, I don't remember if they say he dislocated his pelvis or if he fractured it. It was one of those two. It was either dislocated or fractured his pelvis, but literally everything on the left side of his body was like destroyed. But he was like in the ambulance, and so they were asking me like, do I need to go to the hospital? And I told them like, no, I'm fine, which is a miracle. And they were telling me like, you know, if you were sitting in that front seat, you probably would have died, because at the speed of what we were going, we had been going at least 70 or 80 miles per hour, and the motorcycle was flying. So for him to actually go through the windshield and survive, like, that was a miracle. And they were saying, yeah, if I was sitting in the passenger seat, it probably would have been fatal for me. So I was just kind of like trying to take that in, and it didn't really hit me until I got home that night, and I just laid down. But in that moment, I was just like, oh my goodness, like, that is so crazy. So I ended up calling another Uber, and I ended up just going back to the mixer. So I get the mixer, and then my friends are like, oh my God, where were you? Like, where were you all this time? Like, we thought something happened to you. And I said, hey, I sent you a text. Like, I told Riley, I was like, man, I sent you a text. And he said something was wrong with his phone, which I had imagined. So funny story, when I was away, Riley actually went looking for me, and he had lied to Jasmine and said that he saw me at the ATM and that I was fine, so she would stop freaking out. But really, he was just doing that to stall for time, because he didn't know where I was. So Jasmine was like, oh my God, like, you lied to me. You said that Jay was okay, but, you know, he wasn't even there the whole time. And he was like, nah, I just didn't want you to freak out. I didn't want you to panic. So long story short, they ended up paying for my drinks, and then they bought me some food, and I ended up paying them back the next day. I went to an actual bank the next day, and I gave them money, so instead of going to an ATM. But Oh, and before people start asking me this question, because I know people are going to ask, they're going to say, why didn't you use your credit card to begin with, or your debit card to begin with? So that's the thing. I did actually try to use that, and that was a detail I left out. But the problem was I didn't tell my bank I was in Dominican Republic. So they had actually froze my account, so I was unable to swipe. So that's what ended up making me go to the ATM to go get cash. And if you are traveling abroad, that is a tip. You need to call your banks beforehand and let them know that you are traveling, because if you have a good bank, they're going to notice that your card is being used in a different country, and they're going to shut it down quickly. So that's what ended up happening to me. I don't know why I was still able to withdraw money, but I wasn't able to swipe. I don't know, that was kind of weird. And also my Uber, I was using Uber with a different credit card. So Uber I was using with a credit card, and then I was trying to withdraw money with a debit card. So yeah, that's how I was able to use Uber. But guys, that's the end of the story time. It was a very crazy situation. I'm just happy that I came out alive. Like I said, just be careful if you are in Dominican Republic, and if you are traveling here, I wouldn't recommend you to drive. I would just stick to letting other people drive you, because it is the jungle out here, so just be careful. But guys, once again, subscribe to this video if you haven't done so already, and don't forget to give it a like, and y'all catch me in my next video. Peace.